has anyone met anyone who like their goal was to send a person to prison? I don't know what that's called, but I've met a lot of people in my life during like my 26 years on this planet who have actively been working to send me to prison. So they would do everything they can to either incriminate me or implicate me in some sort of um, like crime, and if I wasn't going along with it, they would coerce me and threaten me. And some of them have extorted stuff from me, including money. And they were very upset when their plans didn't pan out the way they wanted it to, as in I couldn't get convicted for any of the crimes they claimed that I was involved in because it was a lie. So I'm not saying I was a perfect human being. Like I'm pretty sure every human being on earth has done something illegal, like going over the speeding limit, or I don't know, like uh, borrowing like their siblings' things without asking, which is technically stealing. Or like I don't know, like not paying back your friend, which is also technically stealing. Like I'm pretty sure people have done that, but like I wouldn't really hold it against that person. But like also it's like really really frequent. But yeah, I don't know what it's called. I don't know if there's a word for it. Like a person who is only trying to get to know somebody just so that they can send that person to prison. And I found that honestly, the person who's doing that is the guilty person. So they're doing a lot of work to make it seem like they're innocent by trying to get somebody else to go to prison. I think that's like their way of resolving like this guilt, or like absolving themselves of guilt by doing community service, by looking for someone to go to prison for all the crimes that they committed, saying like they're doing a good thing or something. I have no idea, honestly. I'm not sure what that is. I don't know why anybody would target an innocent person and try to force him to go to prison. I mean, Netflix made a documentary about it called Making a Murderer, but like it's Netflix documentary. Like it's the what like the director's commentary on how he thinks people are turned into criminals instead of being born a criminal. Because I think he might be part of the whole criminal justice system where people can buy into this idea that people can be reformed. Like there is nothing wrong with this person. This person just chose to do a bad thing, and they can go through reform such as this and this and this, and they'll get better if they just do this. Like they don't have to fight who they are as a person or whatever. I mean, a lot of people make a lot of money off of it, so that's probably why. And also, I think it's really naive. But some people are incredibly naive. They don't believe that there's such thing as genetic traits that are inherited from their parents. So like when somebody has a certain personality trait, it's because their parents had that personality trait and their grandparents had that personality trait. So that's kind of like how that person has that personality trait. And that trait could be anything from like altruism to antisocial behavior to varying degrees. But like yeah, I think like they're getting away from the topic, which is people shouldn't be having kids. Some people, not people. Some people shouldn't be having kids because they have that bad genes, and they need to be more careful on how they choose to select to breed, and who they choose to be around, and how they go about managing themselves in relations to the society at large. Right? Like they can't just do whatever they want or like do whatever somebody else can do because they're not that person. But that would take a lot of like self-control and discipline for them to be able to do those things. But anyway, I don't know what that is. I think people call that a backstabber. Like a backstabbing friend is a person who just wants to befriend you just so that they can like lie about you to authority figures and try to get you in trouble by like trying to like by taking advantage of people around them and then trying to make it look like it's something when it's not. So basically, they're con artists. Oh, they're called con artists. Oh. Yeah, I made a lot of con artists. The thing that they all have in common, scam artists and con artists, is that they will always try to convince the victim that they're the con artists or they're the scam artists. Yeah. They've always made me feel like I was like the one conning them when they were the ones conning me, but they ended up with a mental health disorder after. So I don't know, like I've never scammed anyone in my life. Like I would never lie about what a thing is, especially if it has something to do with a monetary transaction. Also, like a lot of people have been projecting their like I think they're scared to go to prison. So a lot of people who have done illegal activities where I was a victim, again, they were conning other people, including me, and they're trying to convince me that I was a con artist, and they think that if they can convince me, they might be able to convince the judge, and I might believe it, and I would admit that I was the one who was a guilty person, not them, and I'd go to prison instead of them or something. Like, this is what they believe. It's fake, but I think that's like their way of soothing themselves, because apparently life after prison is really hard. I mean, not always. Like, I've seen people who've been to prison and come out and they can still make a living. Like, they make income, they make money, and like, they still have people that they talk to and everything. It's not like their life is over or anything. But like, I guess it's different if that person is like sentenced to life in prison. I think they're scared. I think that's the thing. I think they're really scared of going to prison. I mean, they're gonna meet people exactly like them. And that's all they're gonna ever meet. People who are just like them. Who've done just as bad things as they are and who believe that they're just as innocent as they believe that they are innocent. So, I mean, it kind of, I get that they're scared and they don't want to live like that with people like that, but it's like everybody else had to put up with you while you were doing that shit. So I don't understand how it would be unfair. Like you made things unfair and now it's fair, you know? Anyway, I can spot when people like also there's like a before I like end this video, there is this thing in therapy. It's not therapy, but it's like so a lot of people think that thinking about something is the same thing as doing something, and it's not. Like you can have these thoughts and they may be abnormal thoughts or something that you may be ashamed to think about, right? But it's not the same thing as like actually acting on those thoughts, right? So if I had thoughts of like I don't know, I was like having a bad day and I had like very negative thoughts towards an innocent individual and I wanted to take that anger out on that person, and I was like imagining situations in my head of how I would like show that person like how angry I am, and they'd just be my punching bag. Like that imagination thing that I have, even though it's unhealthy, it doesn't actually result in anything, right? Like I'm not actually gonna go and punch that person or like assault that person verbally or physically or damage their property. Like I'm not gonna do that. All I'm gonna do is sit down and think about it, right? That's enough for a person to be able to realize that that's not normal and it won't result in anything. But some people actually actively act out or act on those thoughts, which is a problem. So like if you ever have like a bad thought, like maybe it's like a perverted thought or like a really sexual thought, it's fine. Having those thoughts is not the problem. It's a problem when you start behaving as those thoughts that come to your mind. So like just I guess don't even say it out loud. Like that's incriminating. But if you're having those thoughts, it's fine. Okay, no one's gonna kill you for thinking. But if you do something based on the thoughts that you have and you know that it's not good, then it becomes a problem.